It's Tuesday, June 14. In the headlines, dancehall lyrics affecting youth. Prime Minister to meet with South Coast highway contractors. Regionally, Law Association in Trinidad is calling on Attorney General to resign. And in sports, Jamaica loses match to Barbados in T20 Blaze match. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I am Simone Absalom Gale. It has been a long-standing debate. Does the content used in dancehall music, which glorifies crime, scamming, and lewd behavior, affect the nation's youth? Prime Minister Andrew Holness, while speaking during a training session for workers of his Jamaica Labour Party in St. Catherine recently, said Jamaican music is having a huge impact locally and internationally. His comments came on the heels of dancehall artist Skeng being banned in Guyana over a gun salute at the Baderation event at the Guyanese National Park in May, which led to a premature end to the concert. The Prime Minister was quoted saying, "When another country says, 'I don't want your artists in my country,' it's an embarrassment," end quote. Mr. Holness says these types of songs, he believes, are negatively impacting the youth and is of grave concern to him. The Prime Minister was making special mention to trending dancehall songs called Wap Wap, Chop Chap, and Code. Wap Wap is a hit single by Skillibeng glorifying gun violence, while Chap is a term used in music to promote ill-gotten gains, popularly known as scamming. As it relates to the line in the song Code, it mentions females performing oral sex with the nutritional drink Ensure. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has instructed Minister with Responsibility for Works, Everett Warmington, to arrange for an urgent meeting with contractors involved in the South Coast Highway Improvement Project Part D. He says the issues must be addressed.
Part D of the South Coast Highway Improvement Project stretches from the Yalis Bridge in St. Thomas to Port Antonio in Portland. The meeting, which will be chaired by Mr. Holness, is expected to take place today, Tuesday, June 4. Minister Warmington toured the site recently following complaints from some residents regarding dust and other inconveniences.
The dust nuisance is intolerable. And the government is deeply concerned about that, and that's why I'm out here today, to look at the whole stuff and see how best we can correct what's going on there.
Minister Warmington says China Harbour has to step in as the lead contractor on the project.
And the contract makes it clear that where the subcontractor is lacking insufficient in performing that contract, then the China Harbour is obligated to step in and do the work itself.
It is understood that the contractors wrote a letter to the Prime Minister expressing concerns about the matters affecting the progress of the project, such as the contractual relationship between the subcontractors and the main contractor. For PBCJ News, I'm Carla Thomas Hewitt.
Sargassum is a type of open ocean algae that is only found in the Atlantic Ocean and provides refuge for migratory species. The National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA, says sargassum plays a role in beach nourishment and is an important element in shoreline stability. In excessive amounts, it may result in beach erosion and disruption in the visual landscape. These fishermen in St. Thomas say they are losing revenue because of it.
Coming like I grass, I cause all the fish them for not get neither. So fishermen are suffer, brother. We are suffer real hard.
34 years now we are fishing.
34?
Yeah. See net them that they can't go in a boat. See it? But if we go in the boat alone, grass, can't fish, can't go out. That's it, so we can't do nothing. But if we just stand still, we can't go see. See all the boat them push up on the land? Some in the water there, then still can't go out. This grass I now mash up the engine, you know. I carry a little bead, I go up in the hole where pump with black hole and burn up the engine. So we can't fish. That's it? Yeah, we scrape them off at the beach. Yeah, you have to do something, man.
St. Thomas is not the only parish being affected. Some beaches across the island in Portland, St. Catherine and Westmoreland are being heavily impacted. Consulting ornithologist at NEPA, Damian White, has been out in the field.
It attracts insects and it might be smelly, and people don't want to swim in the water because, you know, it scratch, and some of the boatmen, it tie up them boat engine.
NEPA is not against individuals removing the seaweed from beaches. NEPA is advising, however, that the use of heavy compacting equipment on the beach is not recommended and that special care should be taken to minimize the amount of sand that is removed during the cleanup activity. Meanwhile, Mr. White is warning against consumption of the seaweed.
What we tell people to do is not drink it. During the COVID year, people are talking about say you can use it to make medicine. It's not a cool idea. It has some stuff in it that is not good for you.
He says there is an economic opportunity with this seaweed consolidating into large mats.
In some of the Caribbean islands, what the people are doing, some people use it for animal food, and some other people use it as like a compost to make compost and make fertilizer.
The National Environment and Planning Agency has partnered with the Faculty of Science and Technology at the University of the West Indies Mona campus to conduct research ranging from forecasting sargassum landings to the use of the seaweed in soil conditioning and as fertilizer. Meantime, the fishermen are lamenting the effects of the cost of fuel on their business. It has been reported that gas prices have collectively gone up by about $45 since the start of the year.
Every Thursday, gas raise, and the youth then dead if you go to school. We don't make no money. We can't make no money.
Fisherman turn.
Fisherman in world now make no money at all.
We need if we can buy gas to go. Pitney if you go to school, bills to pay. If you like no pay, then cut it off. We need help, brother.
Yeah, man, we figure certain see right now if it costs $100,000 figure see to the amount of gas we have to buy if we go and to the price of gas reach, and we still have to buy ice, food and the whole of them something there.
Come Monday, taxi operators should be able to apply for a $25,000 grant as part of government's move to offset fuel costs for that group. While closing the budget debate in March, Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark had said the government would provide the vouchers to operators of public passenger vehicles, including route taxi operators and contract carriage operators. Phenomenal women. That's the term being used to describe the 20 women recently awarded by the Jamaica Agricultural Society for the sterling contributions they have made to drive the agriculture sector forward.
The awards were handed out during the annual Women in Agriculture Conference at the Terra Nova All-Suite Hotel in Kingston under the theme, The Achievers. Minister of State in the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, Franklin Witter, noted the importance of women in the sector.
From farming, fisheries, research and development to veterinary medicine, agro-processing, policy development, agribusiness, and other areas, women have taken up the mantle to lead in their respective roles, while also guiding others, including the young people.
He says one goal of the Agriculture Ministry is for at least 20% of the beneficiaries of its programs to include women.
To support women farmers, we have also made access to the agricultural land a priority for women through the Agro Investment Corporation, AIC, where 20% of all government-owned lands are allocated to youth, including women ages 17 to 35.
Among the 20 selected women is Citrina Atkins of Manchester, who was awarded the Prime Minister's Youth Awards for Excellence in Agriculture and Agri-Processing in 2020, and named CARICOM Young Farmer of the Year in 2021.
I note the confidence and pride you exude from boots of heels as seen here today, and I commend you for your continued dedication to this sector and by extension the development of Jamaica land we love.
Time now for the Business Report with Danita Rodney.
JMMB Group has announced that it will be increasing interest rates on variable loan contracts. According to the group CEO, Keith Duncan, the cost of funds have increased significantly and will have to be passed on to the customers.
There will have to be, where we do pass, where the cost of funds that we are now facing, which is significantly higher than a few months ago, that will have to be reflected in the interest rate pass-through. But we are going to be very careful and very deliberate around how we manage that with our clients.
Mr. Duncan says the group is prepared to face all that comes with a rising interest rate environment.
And as we go forward, we will continue to see some disruption in the financial markets, because as you move interest rates up, then you will have the impact on the financial markets, on spreads, on net interest income, on the pricing of financial assets. Those are all consequences of a tightening monetary policy and a rising interest rate environment. However, we are prepared, as we normally are, to face this.
The bank is said to be raising the rate by 1.5% effective August 1. Now for your market updates. In foreign exchange trading for Monday, June 13, the US dollar sold for an average of $153.71. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $120.88. The pound sterling traded for $188.46, and the euro sold for an average of $163.04. The following reflects the movement of the JSE indices in Monday's trading session. The JSE index declined by 1,246 points to close at over 300,000 units. The junior market index declined by 20 points to close at over 4,000 units. The combined market index declined by 1,350 points to close at over 300,000 units. And the All Jamaican Composite Index declined by 44 points to close at over 400,000 units. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 110 stocks, of which 47 advanced, 43 declined, and 20 traded firm. Stocks advanced for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited Variable Preference, 1834 Investments Limited, and Access Financial Services Limited. Stocks declined for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, Barita Investments Limited, and Berger Paints Jamaica Limited. Trading firm were Epley Limited 5% preference shares, Epley Limited 7.25% preference shares, and Everything Fresh Limited. The following companies represent the overall volume leaders. Productive Business Solutions Limited 9.75% cumulative redeemable with over 3 million units, SSL Venture Capital Jamaica Limited, and Trans Jamaican Highway Limited with over 1 million units. In regional stocks, in Trinidad and Tobago, Clico Investment Fund was the sole security trading 760 shares. On the Barbados Stock Exchange, Government of Barbados Bond Series B was the sole security trading over 7,000 shares. In market data for oil prices rose as tight global supply outweighed worries that fuel demand would be hit by a possible recession and fresh COVID-19 curbs in China. Brent crude rose 93 cents or 0.8% to $123.20, while West Texas Intermediate crude rose 81 cents or 0.7% to $121.74 a barrel. And that was the business report on PBCJ. I'm Danita Rodney.
In regional news, in Trinidad and Tobago, members of the Law Association are expressing no confidence and are calling for the immediate resignation of Attorney General Reginald Amor, Senior Counsel. More from TTT Live.
Members of the Law Association are calling for the immediate resignation of Attorney General Reginald Amor, Senior Counsel. The members, who wish to summon a special general meeting of the association to consider a motion to express no confidence in Mr. Amor as Attorney General of Trinidad and Tobago and his resignation from the position. According to the Law Association's statement, serious allegations were made against the Attorney General in the public domain, which can undermine public confidence in the legal profession. Association. In a previous statement to the media, Attorney General Reginald Amor said he recused himself in a matter involving the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago versus Burke-Hillman Consultants, Steve Ferguson, Raul Gutierrez Jr. and Brian Quaitong. The matter is currently before the Miami-Dade County Court, 11th Judicial Circuit Court, Florida.
In the Bahamas, Minister of Education Glenys Hannah Martin has expressed concerns about the number of school dropouts who have yet to return to classes more than 2 years after the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. Minister Hannah Martin told Parliament it is a chronic issue. Jasmine Brown has that report.
The Education Minister is spending a good portion of her contribution to the 2022-2023 budget debate addressing school dropouts. Put bluntly, she says it's a crisis that cannot be ignored.
What we are now facing, however, in terms of the alarming numbers of children and young people to whom I've previously referred, numbering in the thousands, who've effectively dropped out of school during the pandemic and have not returned, has taken us well beyond what has been described as a previous chronic norm. What we are seeing now in terms of the sheer volume of children missing from school is a crisis and an emergency, and is a matter of grave concern to the ministry and to the government and to the nation. And we only need to open our eyes and listen and see what is happening around us to understand how important this is to get children back on track.
Minister Hannah Martin says the goal is to have a 95% attendance rate in public schools by December 2020. In order to make that happen, she says boots are set to hit the ground to find and return thousands of students to schools across the country.
Thousands of children, for unclear reasons, we didn't know why, were either not accessing the system or logging on infrequently and were effectively not in attendance at school for very extended periods.
The Education Minister is also insisting the education management system has been vital in keeping an accurate listing of those who have not been in attendance.
This system, as I alluded to earlier, has played yet another critical role in allowing the ministry to identify those students who, during the shutdowns and many instances continuing even to today, have fallen off the radar, so to speak, and have not attended classes, in some cases for more than 2 years. The EMIS allowed us to see who those young people are. These children are across the nation and in varying grades.
Hannah Martin says the Ministry of Education cannot tackle the troubling issue on its own and is calling on stakeholders to pitch in. Reporting for our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
The Barbados-based Caribbean Tourism Organization, CTO, will host its first major in-person event since the start of the coronavirus pandemic 2 years ago. The annual series of business meetings include the Board of Directors and the Council of Ministers. It will be held in the Cayman Islands in September. Cayman Islands Minister for Tourism and Transport, Kenneth Bryan, in welcoming the business meetings, said the CTO does vital work for the region. He says, quote, "This is an opportunity for regional ministers and industry leaders to meet face-to-face to have key discussions as the region continues to recover from the pandemic and plan for the future." End quote. Among the highlights of the business meetings will be the election of the chairman of the Council of Ministers, who will serve for a 2-year term, and the Caribbean Youth Congress, a developmental competition involving students aged 14 to 17, debating regional tourism matters. Meanwhile, the International Air Transport Association will also host Caribbean Aviation Day on September 14, bringing together the top management of the airline, tourism, government, and other industry officials in the region. The objective is to discuss the challenges and opportunities of this sector and the recovery of the region, as well as a roadmap to enhance benefits of aviation in the Caribbean. Grenada is again calling for the United States to change its stance against the governments and people of Cuba and Venezuela, especially in light of the challenges facing the world and the impact these two countries can make towards providing some assistance.
COVID-19 taught us that we are all in this together. How can we then start our first significant hemispheric gathering on a policy of exclusion instead of the lessons of inclusion? Excellencies, we grow tired of having the same objections and making similar requests. Please let us turn a new leaf today.
Grenada's health minister reiterated his support for regional allies, Venezuela and Cuba, at the 9th Summit of the Americas last week.
How meaningful can discussions on resilient health systems be without the presence of Cuba at the table? Undeniably, the country that has the most to offer with respect to human resource in health. Likewise, is it possible to have meaningful conversations on energy security without Venezuela, the country with one of the largest petroleum reserves, being present?
Nicholas Steele represented Grenada, drawing attention of world leaders to the valuable contributions of both countries.
If there is another global pandemic, in our lifetime, history will not forgive us. After dealing with the immediate, we must still tackle the existing threats of climate change, as well as access to rational financing for mitigation and sustainable development. I speak frankly and directly among friends, because that is what friends should do.
Steele's participation follows weeks of discussions among CARICOM leaders about whether or not they should boycott the summit because of the exclusion of Cuba and Venezuela. A U.S. official says the exclusion of Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua from the summit was due to concerns about human rights and a lack of democracy in the three nations. The United States hosted the 9th Summit of the Americas in Los Angeles, California, with a focus on building a sustainable, resilient, and equitable future for our hemisphere. Cherian Blackman-Stephen, GBN News.
In sports, a half-century from Barbados' captain Hayley Matthews ensured Barbados women beat Jamaica women by 25 runs in a matchup of the unbeaten teams in the CWI T20 Blaze yesterday at Province in Guyana. Sent into bat, Barbados posted 129 for 4 of their 20 overs, led by an unbeaten 74 from Matthews that included 9 fours. In reply, Jamaica was held to 104 for 6 of their 20. Shadeen Nation top scored with 26, while Alea Alain took 2 for 20. West Indies white ball captain Nicholas Puran has expressed disappointment with his failure to show up with the bat recently, counting himself among the batsmen who need to step up and give more support to opener Shai Hope.
He's been the leader of our batting and he's been doing fantastic, but we definitely need to buck up, on ourselves. Myself especially in the last 10-12 innings, I haven't scored in ODI cricket, and I'm very disappointed in myself as well. I'm looking forward to start back scoring runs in ODI cricket, and hopefully that changes as well, and I can start back doing what I'm accustomed doing in the middle overs. For West Indies, hopefully the other guys, we could continue stringing along partnerships, and that could be the start of something special for us as a team.
Hope's 12th one-day international century in the series opener against Pakistan made him 4th on the all-time West Indies list of century makers, behind Chris Gayle, 25, Brian Lara, 19, and Desmond Haynes, 17. Puran also shared his thoughts about his bowling in the final match against Pakistan.
The guys in the dressing room know I'm going to talk a lot about it, especially pressure Akil and Hayden about getting wickets for us, because today these fingers work. But yeah, definitely today it worked, so I'm not gonna get overconfident. Just hopefully there's 2 left-handers and in the next 3 so I can bowl as well.
Puran also spearheaded the visitors' bowling attack and ended Sunday's game with figures of 4 for 48, the 4th best by a West Indies captain in ODIs. 3 of his wickets were those of left-hand batsmen. West Indies host Bangladesh in 2 3-match series T20 internationals and ODIs from July 3 to 7 and July 10 to 16 in Dominica and Guyana, respectively. And that's the news on PBC Jamaica. Remember to follow us on all social media pages at PBC Jamaica. Remember, we are the People's Station.